What would you do if I told you that an AI-generated track has topped Billboard's country digital song sales chart? I couldn't believe it when I heard it on the news, so I had to go digging. And in digging, I realized that country music, the genre built on three chords and the truth and a sad story, right? An AI of all things had topped the charts. How did this happen? It's a seismic shift happening in real time. The statistics are pretty amazing. Let me show you what I discovered. Number one, Billboard country digital sales, 2 million plus monthly Spotify listeners, 4 million plus streams on top track, and 35,000 Instagram followers. This song, if you listen to it, it will remind you of an old Johnny Cash song. And a lot of people like it because of the emotions it stirs. NPR host Ailsa Chang admitted that she felt ashamed when she discovered Walk My Walk was AI generated, but only after she'd been bobbing her head to it. That shame is to tell. It reveals the assumption we carry that emotional response should correlate with human authorship, that being moved by machine output is somehow illegitimate, a trick, a betrayal of our own feelings. But the feeling happened first. The connection was made before the knowledge arrived. The song worked on her, on thousands of others, independent of its origin story. And this suggests something uncomfortable. Maybe the source matters less than we may want to believe. Maybe we've been romanticizing the creator while responding to the creation. If you want to read the full article, it's right over here, and you can read what Ailsa shared about it. All right, maybe you start swaying, maybe your head's bopping to the beat. I mean, I'm moving right now as I'm listening. But how would you feel if you knew that this song was made by artificial intelligence? In my mind, there's no shame in the game of emotion. If something moves you, it moves you. If it's a catchy song, it's a catchy song. Now, what people are arguing about is, well, you should disclose that AI created this right off the bat. Well, you might just run into a song. It's not going to announce this is an AI song and stop playing the song. You see, another individual, Jason Palomara, says, after listening to Walk My Walk one time, it was pretty obviously the product of AI. The audio on every track sounds really compressed. But another thing to consider is people don't care. The average person on the street doesn't even know what a compressed sound is. The average person on the street doesn't even know what you mean when you say artifacts. And the weird shimmer that Jason is describing, people don't even notice it. The average person on the street. But we as musicians, we seem to romanticize the idea that people will know this is AI and ignore it. And that's not true. People will listen to what moves them. They don't understand compression. They don't understand frequencies. The average person does not. Now, country music has always been the guardian of realness. So isn't it ironic that it would be this genre that would give us the first AI-generated number one Billboard track? But let's demystify what a lot of people get wrong about Billboard charts. If you go to billboard.com and you click on charts, what you're going to find is there's a lot of categories. And if you hover over country or any of the genres and just click, you can see we've got hot country songs, top country albums, country streaming songs, country airplay, and then country digital song sales. Not to mention bluegrass albums and Americana folk albums. So what I'm trying to say here is just because this album generated a lot of downloads, which Rick Beato covered on his channel, sharing it was a measly 3,000 downloads, because who downloads music anyway when it's on Spotify? Well, a few clueless people, or maybe a few passionate people, right? That want to connect with it and want to play it on their devices however they wish. Nothing wrong in that. But what I'm trying to show you is that, yes, it does have a limited number at 3,000, but that's not the point. The point is that it tops others on the chart in country of all things. So the pensive question, what does this mean for music? If 2 million people choose to listen repeatedly to something with no human author, what have we learned about what music is? We are forced to confront that music might be more formula than we admitted. That hooks, production quality, and aesthetic coherence can create emotional resonance independent of human struggle or inspiration. That the listener's emotional investment doesn't require a reciprocal human on the other end. The economic implications are seismic. Breaking Rust doesn't need a tour bus, doesn't need a manager, doesn't need a therapist or a retirement plan, doesn't have bad nights or creative blocks or substance abuse problems. It scales infinitely. Every stream, every sale is pure margin after the initial development cost, which probably is extremely marginal if it was a casual prompt. If Breaking Rust can succeed, 1,000 more can follow, 10,000. And you know what? I'm over it, but a lot of people aren't. What I always tell listeners and musicians is you cannot police people's emotions. You cannot police people's dispositions to music. The same way when those AI covers came on YouTube and YouTube played whack-a-mole with them, whacking them out, one would be whacked, another would sprout up. Why? Because there was a demand, even though people knew it wasn't a real musician who sang it. We cannot police people's emotions, but we can police an ethical process. A process that is morally right, not defrauding anyone, can be policed. In this case, who do you think is being defrauded? Whose song was stolen? I don't think anyone's song was stolen. I think it is just what it is. When we look deeper, the creative implications are quite strange. We've always assumed art requires suffering or at least experience. Great songs come from lived moments synthesized through human consciousness. But Breaking Rust suggests that pattern recognition trained on human created music can reproduce the effect of that process without the experience of it. Are we then going to shut down their act because it's not human? You see, it's a Turing test for emotional resonance, and it's passing. For human artists, this is existential. Josh Antonuccio from Ohio University notes that 30% of tracks uploaded to Deezer are now AI generated. That's not future speculation, it's current reality. Every playlist, every algorithm recommendation, every listener's attention is now contested territory. Human artists aren't just competing with each other anymore, they're competing with scalable, tireless, cost-efficient algorithms. Well, there's a deeper question beneath the economics. What does it mean to be a music fan in this landscape? If you emotionally connect with Breaking Rust, sing along in your car, feel something when Walk My Walk comes on, is that connection real? Does it matter that there's no human consciousness on the other end of that exchange? Maybe fandom was always more about the listener than the artist. We project our own experiences onto songs, use them as soundtracks for our lives, make them mean what we need them to mean. In that framework, the origin becomes secondary to the utility. The song serves its purpose. Think about it. When you hear a song on the radio and it catches you, you aren't asking the question, who is this? Let me know who it is before he moves me. You're just moved. I remember in the early 80s, a lot of songs by ABBA hit me. Why? They connected with me. And years later when I hear them, that nostalgia is always there. But I didn't ask the question, who is this? Let me know who it is before I can enjoy the song. Imagine the listening population, where majority of the listeners are in age. They don't care if a song is written by Phil or written by AI. All they know is the song makes them feel something, and they're going to feel it. The knowledge that Dolly Parton grew up poor and wrote Coat of Many Colors. I remember hearing that song, right? It didn't move me. What moved me was the song, not her experience. But the song did capture the experience. Think about it. If a song captures an experience and you are moved by it, is that wrong? Aaron Ryan, editor Whiskey Riff, says, I think, especially in country music, it's a little controversial right now. We've seen a lot of backlash from artists and fans who just aren't ready to accept AI-generated music yet. Country music has really prided itself on the authenticity in songwriting and in music. But this is a genre that blinked first. That it happened in country is a twist no one saw coming. Not in pop, where production has always been overtly synthetic. Not in electronic music, where the human-machine boundary has been blurry. But in country, the genre of three chords and the truth. Think about it. The algorithm, as they say, is always learning to improvise. What's next? Jazz? Rock? It doesn't bother me, my friends. To me, AI is still a tool. And if the tool creates something that people gravitate towards, so be it. I'm not going to police them. I don't care. I'm just going to focus on doing me. AI can do it, but I'm going to do me. When you begin to police what AI does, it makes life miserable. It's a very, very poor, lower level way of thinking to want to shut down what people want to enjoy. They're not breaking the law. And we can only police this so far. Remember, there are many countries in the world. We cannot police every single country. And a lot of countries have huge musical audiences. The fact that this is happening with country shows that even country music is susceptible to being faked, if you want to call it that. As Jason says, perhaps this means a significant number of modern country fans have drifted from loving real human artists who have real stories to merely being sucked in by flashy production and vapid lyrics. And I just say, I got to get off my high horse and just say, I cannot police people's emotions. If a song moves me, I'll be moved. If a melody moves me, I'm going to be moved. The melody created by AI can move someone. I don't begrudge them. So, long story short, Breaking Rust exists everywhere. The Instagram presence shows a melancholy cowboy in various settings, while the artist bio simply states music for the fighters and the dreamers. The profile picture is generic. Let's see if we can bring up that picture, wherever it is. It's a very lackluster picture. It lacks depth in my mind, but it does the job. It creates at least some image that people can use. We have it here all the way at the top. And that's the image, pretty much a cowboy against a moon, I guess it is. But it is what it is. You see. Aaron Ryan from Whiskey Riff tracked the songwriter credit to Orbier Rivaldo Taylor, a name that primarily appears alongside the Deaf Beats AI project. He hit a dead end trying to find out who's actually behind it. The opacity is not accidental, it's structural. In country music especially, where fans demand to know the story behind the song, this anonymity is strategic. As Ryan notes, there's been a lot of backlash from artists and fans who just aren't really ready to accept AI-generated music yet. Jason Palomara, assistant professor of music technology at Indiana University, noted the song was pretty obviously the product of AI. Well, again, nobody cares. The Randy Travis president, Randy Travis, the country music legend who lost his voice to a stroke, recently released a song using AI to recreate his voice. Even that was controversial, even with the artist's blessing. As Ryan points out, Travis wrote the song, approved the process, and it was still a lightning rod for debate about what's acceptable. Breaking Rust goes exponentially further. No human artist, no biographical backstory, no blessing to give, no creative vision to honor, just algorithmic output masquerading as human expression. If the artist Travis example sparked controversy, Breaking Rust should have ignited a firestorm. Instead, it topped the charts. The difference, perhaps audiences have less attachment to authenticity than the industry assumed, or perhaps have made peace with simulation faster than the gatekeepers expected. Breaking Rust isn't alone. Billboard announced that at least 6 AI or AI-assisted artists have debuted on various Billboard rankings over the past few months. This includes Zania Monet, an AI-assisted artist who already hit the charts. As ex-user Trixfee noted, pretty much every week now there's a new AI artist popping up on the Viral 50. And the list goes on. I'm not going to dwell on the issue much more, right? But I'll just say the math is brutal. Breaking Rust launched on Spotify in 2025 and already has multiple tracks with over 1 million streams. Living on Borrowed Time has been streamed more than 4 million times. Walk My Walk streamed 3 million times. Whiskey Don't Talk Back been streamed 1 million times. On YouTube, Living on Borrowed Time has amassed 4.4 million views in just 4 weeks. That kind of velocity would make any A&R executive salivate, except there's no artist to develop, no tour to book, no messy human needs to accommodate. Breaking Rust doesn't need a tour bus, a manager, or therapist. And what this means for music: the reckoning. It means we're entering an era where the source and the signal are decoupling, where emotional response and human authorship no longer necessarily align, where 2 million people can fall in love with a ghost. It means human artists face a choice: become more human, more vulnerable, more present, or become irrelevant. It means listeners face a choice too: decide whether humanity behind the art matters, or embrace a future where music is judged solely by its ability to move us, regardless of what or who created it. The cowboy hat is digital now, the voice is synthetic, but the feelings, those are real. And that's the paradox Breaking Rust leaves us with: authentic emotion generated by, you could call it inauthentic means, or you could just say digital means. Maybe that's what music always was. Or maybe we're about to find out what it becomes when the human element is optional. And just think about what moves you emotionally. Do you know that a fragrance can move you emotionally? When you smell the aftershave of a friend or family member who has departed, or the perfume of a beloved mom, aunt, sister, or friend, and you are moved, does it have to be a feeling that was generated by a human in music? No, anything can move us. Food can move you, your taste buds can move you, it can trigger emotions. Smells can trigger emotions. Noises, not even music, can trigger emotions. So it's rather lower level ways of thinking to criticize people who are moved by sounds, smells, things that are not necessarily created as a direct result of a human intervention. It's time to accept what people want to accept. You may not want to accept artificial intelligence music, fully generated AI music, but maybe someone else does. You may not want to believe that AI music has a place in people's hearts, but perhaps it's not about the categorization of the music. Maybe the bigger question is, does it move the populace or does it not? And just as we saw with the AI cover saga, people will vote with their time and their clicks and their downloads.